I'm here because I am a roaring lion crying out righteousness. It looks like the whole world will be wearing a mask for Christmas. Have y'all seen the reports about the hospitals now being overrun? It's like going back 3 years ago when COVID first struck with a vengeance. And sadly and unfortunately, people were dying. The undertakers and the funeral homes weren't able to take the people in. They were putting them in trailer trucks with refrigeration. And but it appears that COVID is making a comeback. So I would say to everybody that, it might not a white Christmas, but it might be a mass Christmas or a COVID Christmas. And I think most people thought that this thing was over with. I never did. But not only that, but everywhere you look now, probably by Christmas time, their face will be covered. I remember my first and only time to South Korea, and of course I've been to China on a couple of occasions, and everybody over there 10 years ago were wearing masks. But now it looks like the mask is covering the face of the entire world, or the face of the world is covered by masks because of COVID. And I've been searching the scriptures among some other things, at least praying about, is there a word in the book, in the prophecy of tribulation regarding COVID? I know there'll be diseases and famines and all of that, earthquakes and rumors of wars and kingdom against kingdom and all of that, but I've been looking specifically as COVID. It's the whole earth is now being affected by it, and China just released its massive lockdown on its billion-plus citizens, and a number of people think that that's going to cause COVID to explode around the world. So everybody needs to be extremely careful about how you conduct yourselves. I think one of the reasons why COVID is spreading so quickly now, the hospitals in New York are filled to the brim and across the nation as well. People went home to grandma's house for Thanksgiving dinner for some pumpkin pie. And listen, you want to be with your family. God knows you want to try to, be around grandma, be around the nephews, and everybody talk about, see how everybody's doing. Everybody coming in from St. Louis, coming in from Seattle, coming in from Atlanta, and coming in from Detroit. That's all good. But I think in the airplane, but you got to use reasoning. You got to use some common sense. The airports were filled to the brim for Thanksgiving travel, and guess what now? The hospitals are now filled to the brim. So when you see the airports being filled to the brim, know that 2 weeks thereafter, the hospitals are going to be filled to the brim. Unfortunately, the undertakers' deaths are going to take place as well. I haven't traveled. Elizabeth and I, we lay low. Now I don't, And so, but there's some other things that are happening right now that's growing in the JFIF community, if I can just take a swipe at this, and that is the whole idea of the spiritual and religious idea of Qanon. I don't think most people are paying attention to it. I think people, think that it's probably just some sort of a weird cult and that it ain't going nowhere. But I think we need to think again, this may be a QAnon Christmas. And the QAnon event, and coupled with some other things that are going on in America. So I know all of this is tribulation related. But last week over in Germany, there was a group of people, including a German judge, who made an attempt to overthrow the German government. They were arrested. The plot was uncovered. And it appears that there are hundreds of others that are part of this. And a part of their theological, spiritual dynamics is also QAnon. And they believe that the government of Germany is not an original government. Down in Venezuela now, they got Bolsonaro, who's now stating that the election was stolen and that it was rigged. And this thing is spreading. QAnon, we first heard about it a few years ago here in America. Donald John Tribulation Trump played what was associated with a QAnon anthem at one of his rallies recently. And it's growing. It has its own network now. We are looking at the tribulation, and most people don't believe in the tribulation. Most people don't even believe in God. But I can tell you that we're at a period now where Elon Musk, who's just purchased Twitter, right now he's not paying rent at the building. And the other thing is he made a statement about Dr. Fauci being a fraud, and his, pushing vaccines is a fraud. And Ron DeSantis, the governor of the state of Florida, is now he's appealing to the Supreme Court of the state of Florida to look into vaccinations and to look into doctors and hospitals and to mask sales in schools. And if you went to sleep 100 years ago and you woke up, the first thing would wake you up would be somebody's cell phone. This is absolute true. I don't be out on the. I'm not on. Don't be out. He be, she be, they be. I'm not on the streets very much, but a couple of years ago, 2-3 years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I was out walking, as I generally do, and I heard people talking while they were walking, And so I came back and told the church, people are going crazy. Women and men out there just walking up the street talking. I said, no, Pastor, man, they got a cell phone. They got an earplug, and they got the phone on, and they're talking to me. I said, oh, yeah, is that what it is? But if you woke up, you went to sleep 100 years ago, you woke up, heck, if you went to sleep 10 years ago, I think since the advent of, and y'all don't want to listen to this, you don't believe, I know you don't, I'm just saying that, what's the word I'm looking for, sarcastically, but not to be mean and ugly. But since the advent of Obama, the world has changed, my friend. I mean, the world has gotten sick. The word hell is in the Bible. But we up until time George Bush, we had a normal world. I mean, so we had a lot of. But since Obama, just go back and go to sleep 16 years ago and wake up. Obama takes over. Yesterday it was a scream. Joe Biden, my time Biden, now standing out there on the south lawn of the White House with thousands of LGBTQ plus people. And most of them were men. By the way, I noticed that. I meant to tell y'all about that. I didn't see a lot of women. Now, there were women, to be sure, but I guess most homosexuals are men these days. At least that's what the gathering was out there. And Joe Biden out there touting. He's just jumping up and down and praising himself and praising LGBTQ and praising everybody that praises LGBTQ. And Sean Hannity said last night on Sean Hannity he would have been better off going down to the border and trying to do something about them immigrants crossing that border, 2,000 or 3,000 of them per day. And by the way, I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I'm neither one of them. I'm the Lord's servant. I'm not even an independent. But I do pray that that the Republicans have hold an investigation into Joe Biden's exit from Afghanistan. That was the trap. You remember people running behind that plane, jumping on that plane, falling from that plane, and then they nuked, they bombed, killed 7 people and 7 children and 2 women and men at a house where they said they were looking for an Al-Qaeda person's car. And they sent, if you will, one of those, what do you call those bombs that they have? And that was, and 13 soldiers blew up at the airport. Somebody need to investigate that, what Joe Biden did. At any rate, my friend, in the departure from Afghanistan. But I tell you, the whole world is wearing a mask. We might be wearing a COVID Christmas. Me, I'm going to try to lay low. We don't know if Germany, the government of Germany will stand. The January 6th committee is turning in their reports and making recommendations that Trump should go to jail. QAnon is growing. You need to keep an eye on QAnon. I think that, and all of this is since Obama. Listen to me, since Obama, and I don't know whether Obama brought COVID-19. They said it started in China. It may have started, at any rate, I thought I would launch with that today. I got more things I want to talk about today. I'm going to take a break, and I'll be right back.